afternoon. We're going to commence our meeting for August 26th. I will tell you, you all owe me a little bit of thanks because I had this big plan. I was going to have us meet outside in the sun, this week in the sun. I changed my mind. So let's start with the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the roll call will show that all council members are in attendance. Tonight we have something nice to start off our meeting with, and that is that we have a new employee for the city to recognize, and she will be working in the library. And Wendy, would you like to say a few words?
Hi, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Olga Haro started at the library on July 1st as the adult services librarian during our busiest time of the year, summer reading. She has been getting settled in, learning the ropes for the interlibrary loan system, and she seems to be fitting in very well. I'm confident that if she can handle summer, she is ready for anything. We are so happy to have Olga as part of our team, and I hope she has a long and happy career at the Carroll Public Library.
Thank you.
Did Wendy brief you on our policy of speeches?
I did brief her that she could leave as soon as I was done talking.
We're just kidding.
All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda, which includes approval of minutes of the August 9th, 12th, and 14th, 2024 meetings, approval of bills and claims, licenses and permits, including renewal of Class C retail alcohol license with outdoor service for Alisco, a bid opening report for greens mower for the municipal golf course, and bid opening report for the trail maintenance project. Is there any discussion? If not, I'd look for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Jason and Tom seconded. A roll call vote, please.
Bauer.
Yes.
Atherton.
Yes.
Dirk.
Yes.
Seaman.
Yes.
Schreck.
Yes.
Fornero.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
All right, thank you. Are there any oral requests? I see a lot of people out here. This would be about anything that's not on the agenda this evening, if you want to speak for 5 minutes or so. No one on something that's not on the agenda, so we'll move on past that. And we will move on to Carroll City Ordinance, Chapter 66 Amendment, truck traffic prohibited on certain streets. And Brad, would you like to speak on this for us?
Thank you, Mayor. This has been a topic that's come to council probably at least the last 12 years from what I can find, maybe even longer. Carolyn may know better than I do. I did create an ordinance with the help of the city attorney for something that would prohibit truck traffic on any city road, and this one in particular, we just have listed Pleasant Ridge on it. It would limit semi-traffic, any agricultural type equipment, construction equipment from the road, but it would not limit school buses, light delivery vehicles such as UPS or FedEx, those types of vehicles. And it would also not limit any truck traffic that was doing a local delivery on that road or the roads that would need that or the neighborhood around that road. The ordinance, it's kind of copied from a few different communities across the states. We thought we'd make it work best for us. We've looked at different ones over the years. We looked at gross vehicle weight. We don't have a certified scale that we use. Our officers aren't certified in any scales either, so that may present some problems. So this we thought would be the easiest to for the officers to be able to use without having to try to track down scales and different things like that. I did get a speed study on the road, and I sent that out to you guys today. I got the last one in this morning, and for eastbound traffic, the average speed's about 25 miles per hour, and for westbound traffic, I take that back. For westbound traffic, it's about 25 miles per hour. For eastbound traffic, it is about 30 miles per hour. So there's not a big speed issue on the road, but again, this doesn't take into effect what types of vehicles it are. It just collects all data from all vehicles that are going across the road. Back in 2012, we did a study to count truck traffic on this road, so it's pretty old, and we did start a new one today. Unfortunately, we don't have it for today, but we'll have it for the next council meeting. One of the council members had asked about if we had any updated information on that. So the officers sat on Pleasant Ridge back in between July 19th and August 10th of 2012, sat for almost 14 hours with a total of 48 trucks observed. So It's old data, but at least it gives us something that we can go off of at this point for you to kind of discuss and see what you want to do with it. I know I've been contacted by quite a few members of the community in support. I've had a couple of people contact me that were not in support of it too, so just kind of give you that information that people are both ways on it, so you still have some information to kind of go off of when we had discussion. So our recommendation is let's just discuss, see what we're at. If it's something you feel comfortable with, we can move forward. If you want something changed or more information, we can certainly do that too. We're in no rush. It's been, I can show at least 12 years we've been working on this, so if we kick it another month, it's not going to be a major issue.
The chart that you emailed us, it doesn't, it supports different than what you're kind of saying. Do you have that, Laura?
Which one are you looking at?
The red, green, and blue, and that bar chart?
Okay, so this is from our speed trailer, and I sent you out two, one with the count versus speed, and then the other one is count versus the time of day. So it's counting the number of traffic, and it's showing speeding and non-speeding too.
So I did that, and in the 0 to 30, that calculates out, there's 2,891 people or cars that you kept track of for 10 days.
And I will say, I don't know how accurate that count is, but this is from the speed trailer. It's 2005, and the software's from 2005, so I don't know how accurate it is, but it's the best that we can get on a short notice, so we'll say that's accurate. But I don't know for sure because our speed sign, which is new, shows that we average about 719 vehicles a day for westbound traffic only. So I don't know if the speed trailer is not collecting the data correctly as far as
I'm
count.
looking at the one that you sent that's eastbound traffic. It's that bar chart?
That's the bar chart. That's from the speed trailer.
Okay, the 0 to 30 and 46 to 50?
Correct.
Okay, looking at that, of the 2,891 that you kept track of, only 387 were underneath 25 mile per hour. Most of them went from up to 30 was the biggest chart, 31 to 55 was 1,100, and all the way up to over 50 mile an hour. There was some 46 to 50, there was 8 in that period.
Yes.
Okay, that's correct?
To the best that we can give you as correct, because it does show the top speed of 104.
Yeah.
I don't think that's realistic. So
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. This is 2005 technology on the speed trailer, so it's a little bit old. In short notice, it works okay, but I wouldn't swear on the data.
Well, Mayor, are we open for discussion?
Yeah.
At this point? But, well, that's where I'm at with this data. We're looking at enforcing or in placing an ordinance with really, I have not received any data except for what you just sent today.
Yep.
I don't live on that street. I don't travel that street much. So for me to make a decision on an ordinance based off of emotions and stuff, I gotta have data. I wanna know how many trucks, if you're talking about trucks and farm equipment, how many are going there? Why are they there? You know, I need to know that reasoning why. We need to have some data before we can make a decision on an ordinance. Why are they taking that street instead of a mile south? You know, I can imagine, I used to drive semis, that's pretty hilly, and you're stopping at the bottom of a hill. I get that. But in order to make a decision just off of hearsay, I can't do that. I gotta have data. You know, we did it on Adams Street in 2016, you know, on that light on Adams Street. That stayed there because of emotions. Now we did a data collection this year. The data explained it all, why that needs to. So maybe a data collection, I don't know how you do it, set up a camera from DOT or something.
We'll probably get a station off, well, we have started this afternoon. We want to station some officers down there for an hour on each shift and just try to collect some data. So we'll, you know, it's kind of a lot of use of hours, but we'll, at least we can get better data than what at least I'll have a better count of what types of vehicles we're going to see. Because right now the speed data and the speed trailer, like I said, is not as accurate, we don't believe, as the speed sign, but it's not giving me if it's a semi or a car or a motorcycle. We don't know that difference.
So I'm thinking about this a little bit, just a second, Jason. On Highway 71 North is kind of what I'm thinking that traffic's going. If they want to go into 71, they just keep going. And if they want to go to 30 West, they would go to 71 30X. So we're looking at the traffic that wants to go to Highway 30 East. Is that correct? Most of what this will be? So we don't
It's hard
know
to
that.
say. Yeah, I
We
don't
don't
know.
know that. So
Yep.
it'd be nice to know what's going on. You know, and then possibly Highway 30 westbound, they want to go Highway 71 south. are they taking this? The only data I have is I had somebody contact me personally and said they had a truck and they used to use that Pleasant Ridge Road, but now that Adams Street and Court Street lights are taken out and they don't have to take a chance, they go up over the viaduct, 71 and 30, and then head east because they don't have to worry about, waiting for a train. So that's the only thing I've got on data.
I'd like to mention, and I'm all for getting data, and if, Brad's been very patient, worked hard on this, but I also think the overriding question is, are semis, is it logical to allow semis and other large trucks in a high-density residential area where we have 2 sidewalks to nowhere? And so you have children sharing a street. It really isn't a road. We're calling it a road, but it is a residential street. And is that a good fit? Is that a good mix? This area has grown exponentially since 2012. I sent Brad an email right before this. And so we have many more residences. And I told Brad in my email that people have told me, and I've noticed it too, that it's been in the last maybe 5-6 years that the truck traffic has really increased. As the building has increased, and now we have another, addition that Matt's doing that's going to border what becomes Pleasant Ridge. So I think that's, along with the data, is a good question to ask all of ourselves. Is this really an appropriate area for semi-trucks, considering the whole context? So I do respect, Laverne always asks for data, I respect that, and I welcome the data, but.
Brad, in all of your research doing this ordinance, how many cities did you find that had an ordinance that was specific to one single street in this type of ordinance?
Most of the ordinances across the state dealt with vehicle weight. And dealing with this definition of the truck, I believe there was 3. And
In
it
the
was,
whole state?
yeah, Waterloo, Algona, and I believe Oline was the other one. I have to go back and double check on that one, and they were all very similar to this, where it has the ordinance, and then they could add streets like we had to put under this ordinance.
So I guess I have a couple questions too. Randy, do you know why that road was built so wide?
Yeah, it was built as, to be eventually classified as an arterial or collector street, 31 foot back to back.
Okay, that's why it's so wide, and it was built for heavier loads vehicles, correct? Like we spent the extra money to make sure that it was versus your normal residential road?
It's probably an inch thicker than customary on residential streets.
And we kind of talked about the speed limit. I'm going to reference ordinance 6301, which is a speed ordinance in town. We already have an ordinance. I'm going to address the noise, kind of the noise complaint. We have a noise complaint, which is ordinance 4401, as far as noise and mufflers and exhaust from trucks and things of that nature. So we already have a lot of ordinance out there to prevent a lot of the complaints that are coming from this area. And these aren't enough. Like, if we can't, our police force does the best that they can. I truly believe that we have the greatest police force in the entire state. However, we only have so much manpower to be able to enforce ordinances and stuff of that nature. So now we're just adding another ordinance that's repetitive on the ordinance that we already have existing. To me, we're just trying to trying to get ourselves out of a situation by doing different ordinances. You know what I mean? If people adhere to the ordinances that we have, a lot of these problems would be solved.
Anybody else on the council have anything to add, or any questions for Brad?
Randy, does the DOT have some type of camera system that can be in place and take a look at the street and the traffic?
Not that I'm aware of. We can check into it. What we will do, we'll deploy some mechanical traffic counters that we can classify, general classification of trucks with them. Just learned today that we believe they still work. And we'll deploy them, find out if they work, to get the information on truck class, or vehicle classification is what they do.
One more question. Have we talked to, because we only own part of this road, is from my understanding. We own a small part of this road. Have we gone to the supervisors and asked the county if they're willing to appease this? Because the problem that I see is we're putting a sign, right, 1.5 miles up the road. It's like running a race, and 1.5 miles into it, you say, you know what, I'm gonna change the rules. You gotta hop while you're doing this. There's no way for a semi to turn around or anything like that. Any truck that goes down there is now committed to go down there.
Committed to go down that road or down Hidden Valley
Or,
and.
but even,
down
they can't even make it to Hidden Valley.
Right.
They can't even make it to Hidden Valley. So have we talked to the county as far as how they feel? I know we got some supervisors here, I apologize, about how they feel about, I mean, we share a road with them, and so.
We did talk to them about maybe a year ago about signage on the intersection of 71, and they were not interested in partaking. So I would assume that means they don't,
Oh, so
they don't approve this ordinance
So
either.
they don't approve this ordinance either. Okay.
And we have no plans of addressing truck traffic that would then be, I mean, they're gonna divert themselves if they see that sign down Hidden Valley and down to South Timberline and.
The goal, I think, would be is most of these trucks that drive on there are, we'll call them local trucks, so they're probably they know the road. Because the trucks that are traveling nationally, they're not gonna come down to that road. So that, hopefully these people will start to see that this is not allowed and reroute themselves wherever they need to go to 220th or Highway 30. So, and our plan would be if this is put into place, we'll run a couple months where we're running warnings so that the trucks, they become familiar with it and then just find a different route.
So is this an ordinance just to deter local trucks from going down there? I guess that.
Be any truck, but I mean, ultimately, if you sit down there and watch, most of the trucks that travel through are local as far as they're either from Carroll County, Crawford, maybe Greene County, but they're all local trucks that know that road exists to kind of bypass Carroll.
All right, anything else from the council? Pretty good amount of interest here. This is not a public hearing. We would, obviously, if we were to pass this, we would go to a public hearing and anyone could offer input on this. At this time though, unless there's anything else up here, obviously I don't wanna say table it, but we will just go on and check with Brad to find out what kind of more information you can get for us.
Yeah, and we'll have some truck counts for the next council meeting. I don't know how long it'll take for Randy's device to get information, if it's by next council meeting or not.
And Brad, I believe you mentioned somewhere in your memo that other streets may be added to this ordinance.
Yeah,
This
the way
is
the
just an
ordinance is written
amendment.
is that by an ordinance change, we could add additional or remove streets too.
Right. And it is city limits. Most of the street is not county. When you come from 71, Matt's new development is right there. That's city limit on the entire north side, all the way down the street.
Just the
That-
north side of
The
the
north
street?
side, but on the south side, on the south side from 71 to a little bit west of where my house is, Laura Ludwig sent an email, and her property line to the west is where the county ends. So that's on the south side, it's county land for a little bit less than half a mile, but otherwise it's all in the city limits.
Pretty well from Timberline.
The sign is still gonna be a 1/2 mile
Right.
down the road.
Right.
Or a little bit less than a 1/2 mile
And
down the
I
road.
will tell you too, it's just, I see it as analogous to what we did with, when we were discussing Court and Adams Streets, that, once they're out, people are used to doing things a certain way, but then we told the public, well, you've got to get used to then walking over a block to access streetlights so you can cross safely. And I see this as incentivizing the trucks to use a different road. And I would say, Jason, from my observations, most of the truck traffic was taking the Swan Lake cutoff 1 mile south of Pleasant Ridge or 210. They were taking that road. Now, all of a sudden, their traffic pattern has changed the last 5-6 years. I do not know why.
Well, that's
but-
where I want to,
Yeah.
I want to know why they're doing that.
I mean, I
You know,
wish
there
that
could be some legit reasons why they're doing it.
I wish that
don't know what they're hauling and
ordinances-
stuff, but
made people do what they were supposed to do, but I have proof right in my hand with these two ordinances that ordinance don't inspire people to, they don't, like, so that argument really is, if we have these ordinances already, why are we putting ordinances on top of ordinances? Like, we can ordinance everybody to death, right? But if people are gonna do it, they're not gonna do it.
If nothing else, just understand that this will not come back without plenty of public input. And I guess I would invite, as Laverne said, if there are any people here that are using that road with trucks that would be found to be against this ordinance, I invite you to let us know why you use that road, what the advantage is. Laverne wants to know for data. I think we'd all like to know.
So
Is there a
I've
reason
received.
that road is
hold on.
used instead of the Swan Lake Road, I'll call it, only because they're about the same length and only a mile apart. It would be nice to know is there an advantage to using this road over that one? So if we get some input, we all have email addresses, if you wouldn't mind sending some information about why that road is an advantage to use.
if you're going to send an email, send it to every council member,
Right.
mayor, and city manager, because we have to do that anyway.
Okay, if there's nothing else, we're gonna move on to resolutions. And the first resolution is Echo Urban Renewal Plan. Public hearing on the proposed Echo Urban Renewal Plan. We'll open the public hearing. We'll wait.
Nobody wants to know about Echo? What? Okay. No problem.
All right, thank you for getting that taken care of. We're going to open a public hearing on the proposed Echo Urban Renewal Plan. It is 5:39 right now, so we'll open a public hearing.
Okay, council, at the July 22nd meeting, action was taken to proceed with creating an urban renewal plan to support the development of a 21,000 square foot commercial building for Echo Group, as well as the construction and installation of public improvements, including an 8-inch water main. The memo that accompanied that resolution listed the steps needed to create the urban renewal plan and are discussed below. Do you have any questions regarding the actual resolution to adopt the urban renewal plan? Do I need to go into any further than that?
I'm good.
Okay.
Anybody in the public have any comment on this, since we are in a public hearing? All right, if there's nothing else, we'll close the public hearing, so we'll call it 5:41. All right, with that said, we'll look, there's a resolution determining an area of the city. That's what we're talking about.
Yep.
We look for a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Jason, JJ seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Ordinary,
Yes.
Shrek.
Yes.
Dirks.
Yes.
Seaman,
Yes.
Bauer,
Yes.
Atherton.
Yes.
Approved.
All right, we need a motion to approve consideration of ordinance for the division of revenues under section 403.19 Code of Iowa for Echo Urban Renewal Plan.
Second.
Yep, that's the ordinance that allows us to collect the urban renewal dollars.
First reading.
Yeah, it's the first reading. Yep.
Okay. It was Jason and
Tom and Jason.
Tom and Jason.
Yep, got it.
Okay. Roll call vote on that, please.
Dirks?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Bornero?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Shrek?
Yes.
Atherton?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
All right, and now we'll move on to the Echo Urban Renewal Plan Development Agreement. And open a public hearing on the proposal to enter into a development agreement with QRS Investments. At, 5, we gotta open it up, so
Yep, go ahead, sorry.
5:42.
I thought you,
Open it up.
I jumped the gun.
This is a little bit, this is another new one, so here we go.
Well, this is the development agreement with Echo Group itself. Again, they're building a 21,000 square foot commercial building and adding an 8-inch water main that would be the public infrastructure that they're putting in. The development agreement is that they would get the cost of the water main rebated back to them over a 5-year period, to not exceed the amount of $250,000.
Any questions for Aaron? Any public input? All right, it's 5:43, we'll close the public hearing. And we'll look for a motion to approve the resolution adopting the development agreement with QRS Investments. Did I have that right? Let's see.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So moved.
Second.
All right, got Laverne
Carolyn?
and Carolyn. Roll call vote, please.
Bauer?
Yes.
Atherton?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Bornero?
Yes.
Shrek?
Yes.
Resolution is approved.
All right, and lastly, on the same topic, general obligation capital loan notes, series 2024B reimbursement resolution. Anything you got to,
Let Laura.
Laura?
Yes. Back in June, council did award a construction contract to 10 Point Construction Company for the CBD street resurfacing project that is underway. As you may have noticed some of the street closures in town recently. Our fiscal 25 budget, which we're currently operating under, includes funding for design services also for the traffic signals project, as well as the construction of the resurfacing project. For those projects, we're planning to issue debt in fiscal 25, but we have not issued that debt yet. That we are planning to do that. We're starting those steps with PFM, and we're planning to issue that here by November 1st or so. And in order to reimburse the city for some expenditures that we're planning on incurring here shortly with this street construction project, we need to put into place or approve this resolution declaring our intent that we are going to want to reimburse ourselves with some debt proceeds and have it all be tax exempt. So that's what this is a resolution, what we call reimbursement resolution, to make sure that we can reimburse ourselves from funding or debt issuance that's coming up.
Any questions?
Yeah, it didn't state in here what fund you were paying these bills out of before.
It will be tracked, the expenses are tracked out of the capital project streets fund.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
paid out of the urban renewal.
Yeah, I get that. Just want to know where
Or
the,
reimbursed from.
Reimbursed
Right.
with TIF.
that it states.
All right, I look for a motion to approve.
Second.
JJ and was it Laverne?
Kyle.
Kyle. Seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Atherton?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Shrek?
Yes.
Bornero?
Yes.
Resolution is approved.
All right, we'll move on to downtown facade grant approvals. And Aaron.
Yep, thank you. City Council approved this past spring 6 facade grants, which are matching funds for grants. Those grants were for a maximum of $25,000 apiece. As of August 1, the city received 6 applications. All 6 applications were good applications. Kimberly Tiefenthaler, John Perrin, and myself scored all those applications. Our recommendations are as follows. if you look through the memo, we actually recommended that all 6 of the applicants get funded. The only applicant that we did not recommend getting fully funded was, where's it? 213 West 4th Street, or currently Relic Sports LLC. Some of the signage that they were using didn't match the downtown design guidelines. However, the other signs would that they were putting in, so we recommended funding those signs for $3,100 rather than the total $4,000. The other totals, if you want me to go through them, I can. Otherwise, if you're all comfortable with, we will start working with the city attorney to write grant contracts with all of them, and then they will need to expend the funds, and then we will reimburse them after they have finished the projects.
How many other applicants have you had for this, or did you have?
We had a total of 6.
Total of
That's all we
6.
got.
How did we push out the application information, like to current business owners or new business owners?
It was through Facebook. It was on our city website. I think I talked about it a couple of times on the radio. Did the chamber put it out on their Facebook information also?
The new tile and epoxy entrance, that's outside the store for Promising Image, right? It's up in the front?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, yeah, I just want to, because I see the sign there. It looks like it's outside, which.
Yes.
I just want to make sure that the grant goes to, you know what I mean, the outside.
yes.
So that we don't, yeah, okay. Yep, I'm good with it.
Has there been other businesses that have showed interest in this?
We haven't gotten any other calls or questions about it at this point in time, no.
For sure.
Okay, I think it's something, I mean, clearly shows that this is needed and people want this. And we talk about sprucing up the downtown, you know, if there's other people that are interested, I think it's something we
Well, we'll be
continue
doing
to
this
look.
I think we need to do it again. I think it's an absolute,
I
yeah.
didn't mean to interrupt you,
But
but
I-
once they see it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a revitalization or a change in the look of the downtown. The 2, if you read my memo, there's 2 of them that I'm really excited about because they are gonna completely transform the front of their building. And it's gonna be a change. So a couple, 3 of them, the 3 other ones that I haven't talked about, those 3 are all pretty significant maintenance issues, which those are good things too, because when you start having mortar and stuff crack off the front of the building, that's not a good thing. So the tuck pointing and the changing out of windows and taking out boarded up windows, that's all gonna be a benefit to the downtown area. And yes, I think it would be a benefit to continue to do this. We'll have to look at the funds available for the next time around, but we can certainly look at doing 5-ish again.
I think it's a make or break it for some of these businesses, whether they're doing this or not, if these funds are not available. So I definitely think it's a good thing. We continue to look at it, so.
I did happen to see on the news a similar town that they reported on, it was on probably WHL. It was Boone, and things that they're doing there, and it'd be nice to see the same coverage when the time comes here, if we get this rolling. I really think when people see this, when business owners see this, they're gonna be interested.
Yep.
Look at
in following through. Grand Rapids is a great example. You know, what they did with their downtown is super, and, you know, we've made efforts before as well. The lighting and everything downtown, and I think this is a great addition for that. So I will be looking for a motion to approve the allocation of $100,000 from a local option sales tax for,
No,
oops,
that's,
wrong one. I'm sorry.
you're one past it.
Yeah, I knew I was, I told you I might get lost.
Let me go back to where it is.
Approval of projects as recommended by the Downtown Facade Grant Program Committee and authorize the execution of contracts with the business owners.
Second?
Jason and Kyle, I think this was the second. Roll call vote, please.
Okay, Shrek,
Yes.
Bauer.
Yes.
Dirk.
Yes.
Bornero.
Yes.
Seaman.
Yes.
Atherton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
All right, we'll move on to the emergency catalyst grant that I was in such a big hurry to go to on 504 North Adams and Aaron.
Yeah, the council approved, I would say it was last fiscal year, the setting aside of $100,000 of local option sales tax dollars to match an emergency or a catalyst grant with IEDA. They have two different grants. They have a normal catalyst program, which starts in January application process, but they also have an emergency catalyst that if you can get, if it's deemed the right type of project, they will find funds to appropriate for that grant. And we were fortunate enough to have a project, which happens to be the former J.C. Penney's building, that met that qualification from IEDA. So we do have a application coming to us from IEDA for a emergency catalyst grant. Would consider and I would recommend or request the council consideration and approval to allocate the $100,000 from local option sales tax and for the mayor to sign the letter of intent to participate and the project assurance documents for the city. Also, Kimberly Tiefenthaler is here to explain any more parts of the catalyst grant if we have any questions for her. And the bases are also here as the applicant if we have any questions for them.
Kimberly, do you need to come up and?
Do we have any questions?
I got questions. Makes your trip with.
I have one.
The emergency catalyst grant, does it have the same payback standards as a regular catalyst grant? Like it has some of it up front and then?
Reimbursement?
Yes,
So, yes, it's a reimbursement basis only.
it's the same as a normal catalyst grant?
Yes.
Okay.
I just
all
want to
I
say
got.
good job.
I think it's important, you know, we've been working on this for a couple years, and we've been wanting one of these. I think it's important for people to know that there's funds like this available, and I truly believe once one of these happen, it's only gonna be a matter of time before other people realize that there's funds available from the state, and if you're not taking it, somebody else is going to, so.
So when we talk about Coon Rapids, we talk about Manning, and they are a Main Street community, so they have access to different programs that we don't have access to. And Carroll, this is certainly a program that we could be using, the Catalyst program, and it's for communities outside of that Main Street program. And so this is our first opportunity to do that, and this particular project is completely at the discretion of Director Durham. She feels, as we do, that our J.C. Penney building is cornerstone downtown. It's 22,000 square feet. We really don't want to see that vacant any longer than what it's been vacant. So it's a good project, and this is our first. So this is our opportunity to keep moving things forward like this.
Kudos to you and your team. Keep up the good work.
Pardon me?
Kudos to you and your team. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Eric, can you tell us what you plan on doing with the building?
It'll match pretty much identical. Oh, sorry.
Come on.
Speech.
Next to be formal. We're gonna match the outside of the facade basically to the drawings that were rendered on the,
Downtown assessment.
yeah, it's.
Oh,
Good.
good.
So, yeah, we'll put windows in and rechange the entrances and obviously some paint, so, yeah.
Do you
Eric.
have interest
oh,
in what's going
sorry.
in already?
Well, there's one tenant currently in there already. So that project just, is hopefully wrapping up soon. But we do have some interest in the other two units as well. One is kind of have a verbal agreement, to go in, which I would call the southwest corner, would be the corner of Adams and Fifth. So that one will really be kind of set off by the new windows and entrances and things that'll really kind of spruce that business up quite a bit. And then the other one, we're still in negotiations with, so.
Eric, are you planning the floor plan as people show interest so you can meet their needs? I noticed, the reason I'm asking is Aaron mentions in his memo, our 100,000 will focus on Adams Street to attract retail. So just maybe fill us in a little bit on how your plan is progressing and how you're looking to fill your space.
Well, with that idea of having retail stores in those suites, so that's kind of how we sectioned it off with that anticipation going
Sure.
forward. And so with this catalyst and being able to basically change the outside to look like that, that drawing, that rendering that we had done, or that day was done, that's kind of incentive for that retail store
Sure.
to spruce it up. I mean, it's gonna be a showcase retail space, you know, and then having the luxury of another business right there. there, you know, so we're getting more people interested in the space with bringing Fusion downtown and then actually sprucing up the
Oh,
building
yeah.
itself, so.
You're gonna be a draw. It's exciting. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for doing that too. I know that renovations can be quite an undertaking, so the city does appreciate, you know, that community members come in and try to spruce and fix things up, and so anything that we can help you with, please let us know.
Thank you.
Heather, when's your open house?
September 13th is the chamber, and then that night will be the kind of a grand opening. So please come and visit. We're excited to show. I mean, I think our dance families, they all walked in with their mouths dropped open. It does not look like JCPenney's anymore. Well, from our side, the other side's still good, yeah.
I was just curious how many square feet you still have there that's.
So the total building is 21,724, I believe, and the suites will each be 3,150.
Okay.
So it's still a nice sized retail space.
Certainly is.
Yeah.
All right, that's great. Anything else for them? Go to your seat.
Go have a drink. It might be the last one to do it for a while.
All right, we'll look for a motion to approve the allocation of $100,000 from local option sales tax and for the mayor to sign the letter of intent to participate in the project assurances documents for the city.
So moved.
Second.
We all want to.
Kyle?
We all want to help you.
I think Laverne got it
That
first.
Kyle? Oh, Laverne wins. Okay,
All right.
Laverne is first.
I
Kyle
only
second.
heard Kyle.
Roll call vote, please.
Bauer,
Yes.
Warnero.
Yes.
Shrek.
Yes.
Seaman.
Yes.
Atherton.
Yes.
Dirk.
Yes.
Motion's approved.
All right. We'll move on to bid opening report, demolition and removal of the Northwest Park Shelter House, and Chad.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So as we kind of discussed it, one of the last times we brought up this topic, probably about a month ago, we have started noticing a little bit of extra deterioration of the shelter, and, you know, with both insurance and our structural engineer labeling this as a complete loss, we think it'd be in the city's best interest to go ahead and tear it down at this point. I know we still don't have full numbers on moving forward. We're still working on that, trying to get those all locked down, just trying to get those estimates. But hopefully we will have those pretty soon so we can start having those discussions on which way to move it forward. But for the safety of the public, I think it's time for this facility to come down.
Is anybody going up there? Maybe Brad, that's a question for you more. Is the police notice that anybody's looking around up there? I mean, we really don't want that to happen, obviously.
We're not seeing anybody inside the structure, not saying it's not happening, but you're still seeing vehicles up and around the area.
I drove by too, so just to see it, but as long as they're not going in this.
And it's still blocked off, so We do have some barricades. Doesn't mean that's not, that's not getting around that type not of gonna stuff. get but- everybody away from it, so.
Well, I have a question. When did we decide it's a total loss and we're just gonna tear it down? Cause I thought we weren't even close to deciding something like that. Like to even go out to bid, when did that come up that we're just gonna throw it out to bid? I thought we were gonna look at it and see if we were fixing it or doing something different in it.
We
trying to
discussed
save
that
it.
at the last meeting, that we discussed this, and.
There was no decision like, yeah, let's throw it out to bid and. just
Correct.
tear it
So, I mean, basically what we're looking at, if you want to try and keep those exterior walls, that's all you're getting. So the floor needs redone in there,
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanted to reuse those bathrooms up there, the floors are completely sinking into the side hill. So that's an extra expense. New bathrooms would need to be placed in there, and then you still have the tear off of everything else.
And we just learned this like recently, because originally.
It was discussed in our meeting with Bill Murphy
Yeah,
when he was on.
the guy said it was probably a total loss.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
But what is the
Insurance
compensation? for
has claimed that it's completely a complete loss as well.
Okay, I'll say it again. What's the total compensation then for it? What are they saying it's gonna cost to rebuild it?
Well, we
Or
have
fix
an
it.
estimated value or evaluation that is put on it, but as far as what it's gonna take to replace, they will pay replacement value.
They will
So
or
if,
won't?
they will.
So does that
So-
mean the same number of square feet? I mean, how does that?
It would have to basically be exact, almost nearly identical build. We couldn't be upgrading anything. It would be
putting back what was there, more or less.
Can we upgrade and they only pay up to the point of the upgrade?
Correct.
Dollars.
Yes. If we wanted to do any sort of upgrading to the facility, then we are looking at actual cash value being paid out to us, minus some depreciation, obviously, and deductible.
So rebuilding, will they take care of engineering fees?
Correct.
Ooh.
They will take care of engineering.
Why are we not moving forward with that then? Why are we just?
Can we vote on that tonight? Like,
We don't have a contract yet.
oh, okay, like,
No, but I get it, and I get that Laverne, you made the point of maybe we need something we could rent out, yada, yada, but, I mean, the true fact is that it got destroyed by lightning. Insurance is there for a reason to replace what the existing place was, and if it's gonna cover it, why aren't we doing it? I don't understand that. Are we just taking the money and saying, oh, let's spend more money to build something that we think we need in the future, or are we just gonna replace it? Because I've had several people come to me and say, I just want the thing replaced, because we use it all the time.
Sure.
And that seems to be the trend, you know, people come
Yeah.
up and say, I've
But that
got
would
several
obviously
people
still
that wanna do
mean that
this.
we would have to take it all the way out and then rebuild.
I don't know, but I mean, if they're paying, if the insurance is paying for it, I don't know why we're not doing it, so.
so you can't save any of it.
As I said in my memo, you could probably get somebody in there to chip away some of that exterior block. But again, it's gonna cost a lot of money, and then you have to factor that into the replacement as well.
Right, but the insurance company's paying for all that, right?
Could.
See that Carolyn?
Carolyn, you get your
Well,
historical
hey,
value back
historical.
in
I'm
it.
trying to
You're all
keep
about the
it.
history, so,
Yeah, okay,
Yeah?
I have.
you handed us these things, so I was assuming you wanted to keep it. You know, when you
Okay,
hand these
okay.
out, it's like Carolyn wants to save it, so we're saving it,
I
you know?
have my show and tell, but I was thinking, okay, we hadn't decided what we're doing yet, because I remember Chad saying, we're waiting to hear from insurance definitively.
Yeah.
So we would be faced with choices, you know, do what you mentioned, or build something new there, as mentioned in his memo. So I was thinking, okay, you know, I'll listen, make a decision, and decide. But then I started thinking that this building was built, the stone is on the south side. You can, my photos, the south side photo number 2, you can see the inset for 1955. And then Chad told us, read the memo, again, the report again from JEO, and they mention in their report on page 3 that there's absolutely no damage to all the brick inside the walls for the concession, you know, the restrooms, et cetera.
Right.
And then Chad mentioned the veneer, the limestone veneer. And he said, well, it's doable, but it would be very timely and expensive. So this is just food for thought, and my question for Chad is, after I looked at the breakdown from Daniel, complete demolition and removal is $12,000, demolition of eastwood structure removal, $10,500. I mean, I thought it'd be reversed, but that moves away from what I'm gonna ask Chad next. Chad, do you have an estimate on what it would cost to save the stone? Whether we rebuilt something new that would be covered, or, you know, replicate, or whether we would move in a direction of a new, you know, reasonable shelter house on the land. So I haven't made up my mind, but Chad, do you know how much it would
I
cost to
don't yet,
save
and I
the
don't know
stone?
who would actually be doing that work, you know.
I talked to somebody that's familiar with stonework, and the reason I'm asking is that stone that was used for that shelter house, the limestone, it had been salvaged from the north and south old grade schools in Carroll. And the brick inside is probably the same bricks that were used for the Grand Park shelter that came from the city streets that were ripped up, the big heavy pavers. And I started thinking, you know, they salvaged the brick. The brick was salvaged to build this shelter. the limestone, and it's veneer, it's not thick limestone, it's about, the guy I talked to said it's probably 1.5 to 2 inches that you could probably, remove it pretty easily. It's not thick chunks. And so I was thinking, whichever way we go, we have material there that we can use to some extent. And so my idea is we need to salvage the limestone and the brick and see how we can make it work for whatever direction we go in. I think it would be worth the money because you're gonna have to buy construction materials anyway. And a lot of our buildings in our parks use the limestone. Southside mentioned limestone restrooms at Graham Park, the limestone trim on the brick Graham Park enclosed shelter house. So we have some very high-end materials that we could integrate into wherever we would like to go, wherever we land on this. And I think salvaging the material, I will tell you, I started, pavers are very expensive. You go to build a house with pavers, which some people like, it's astronomical. But I started looking up the information on the limestone and natural stone veneer versus manufactured veneer. And everybody says that all the stone sources I went to said that the natural stone is better. It's pricier, but it's better because of its authenticity, durability. It withstands the weather and elements better, so it has a longer lifespan, and there's way less maintenance. So I think if we salvage these two products, we would end up with, as I said, quality materials, and we can use them and not buy new, lesser quality materials. That's where I would like to go, and then let's figure out where we go from there. But salvage the materials. The brick won't build a whole new shelter, neither will the limestone, but it certainly could be put to use, and we'll end up, that limestone has been there for 70 years since it was built, and the brick also.
Your bid includes tearing it all down. It does not include salvaging the brick.
Correct.
I think we need to know what that bid is first.
Is the insurance paying for this thing to be taken down?
Yes.
And is that what they're requesting? Is to have the whole thing torn down, or do they have, or, because they're gonna be the ones
total
that.
loss, they would rather see us tear out the complete structure.
Okay, and does this thing pose a clear and present danger at its, I guess that's the question for
For sure,
Brad
the
and
wood area, for sure the decking, for sure getting under the decking, climbing on the decking, anything like that. I mean,
we could tear down the decking, and the infrastructure of the building is kind of still, that's up to the insurance company, I guess, because they're gonna rebuild it on what they can salvage or not. I would
Correct.
think that they would want to maintain some of it, because, I mean, you got 4 walls that are fine.
Yeah.
You might want to actually maintain it versus,
And I looked
Yeah.
up an article from, when they were building this, from June 11th of 55. And where the stonework is that encompasses that little area, the size of that storage room, restrooms, concession room is 42 feet by 20. And the same guy that built the enclosed shelter, was in charge of the enclosed shelter house that used the brick and the limestone trim, that Henry Feaster was the one that helped plan this. So,
You're talking about taking this.
Yes.
Right here,
And
and
it's-
stone by stone,
Yeah,
storing
and
it till
the
we're
guy
ready to
told
redo it.
me that it would be easy.
That side of the building.
I'm,
and more.
what I'm saying is,
Just leave it as the solid
tear
structure.
off,
Yeah.
tear off the deck, leave it as a solid structure, And then they already have 4 walls. If they don't want to utilize those 4 walls, but we want it in the same place, that's up to them. Like even,
The bathrooms aren't ADA compliant, so that has to
Right,
change.
right. You gotta change all,
You'd have to change all that stone structure there.
yeah.
So you're
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
get
then
into,
that's- if
that's
that-
gonna
yeah.
get into huge cost.
that's good, no, okay, I thought we were just
And
gonna.
If it's up to me,
back
I think
to
you tear
was
it
gonna
down
get
and you
how
start
it
over.
was. Okay.
So
Yeah.
basically, it does need extensive work that has nothing to do with the fire inside. That would all be on us.
Okay, yeah, all right, I got you. Okay,
think
okay. Sounds
If we're
good.
gonna be making decisions, we need numbers on this.
Yeah, my point was in the beginning, sorry for all the distraction, but was if they were gonna replace it and say, I wanna put it back just like it was, what's that number? What are we looking at?
Yeah.
Well, number one, we don't even have a
25,
cash value from them
50,000.
yet because
Cause they don't
I
wanna
called them
give one
again
up,
today and they still have not got us the final report.
cause they
They're
don't wanna
not
give one
super
up their
happy with the
insurance.
adjuster that is supposed to be getting it to us.
Yeah.
But they emailed them again today, hoping to get actual cash value numbers.
Have you heard any numbers on a brand-new facility similar?
No, but we're getting feelers out there to try and get a figure.
I can tell you, like I mentioned before, the rec center's keeping track of that. Right now, they're averaging 10 calls a week to want to rent something that's already been rented. So the need is, or the want is there.
I think the want's there too, I'm just looking for the bottom number to see what we have to work with.
And that would be another
Yeah,
option.
exactly
We
right.
fix this up and take a look at building something at another point.
So I would read like Colin Mowry's email that he emailed some suggestions, and he kind of talks about what should be there and how it should be there, and so kudos for him for writing this email. If you're watching, I found it very informative, just like you, from an individual who grew up in Carroll, left Carroll for the big city, and then came back to Carroll and what he wants, and he's pretty fiscally conservative on it. But I mean, if that's what it is, you know, if that's what's gonna be able to pay for it at some way, then yeah, I'm all about it, you know?
The only thing is the request for having this shelter house before it burned down is very limited. Not a lot of people wanted it. So if you're trying to make the needs of the public, I think we need to have some numbers before we start making decisions.
Does it make sense to anybody else to salvage the materials regardless of where we go?
I think it's like 95% of the time you try to salvage something that sits there in a pile and it gets thrown away eventually anyways. That's my only worry.
Well,
I wonder
this-
what it's gonna cost us, so.
Where do you
But
store it?
This came from, yeah, well, the thing is, it's gonna last a lot longer than another material.
And I'm with you, Kyle. I mean, from my house to the villa, I love old things. But sometimes you get to a point where you just can't, I
Maybe
mean,
it's something-
junk is junk, and like you just can't salvage it.
It costs
And we gotta
more to-
see what that number is.
it costs more to salvage something than start
than to
over.
replace it, and so.
I don't know, if you went to purchase limestone like this, it would cost more to replace it than to salvage it.
Well, that's up to the insurance company as far
I'm
as
not
what
sure
they
if
wanna
that would
do.
be true.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not really on
Gotta
us, that's
clean
the
each one of those
contractor.
off.
What's that?
We're just guessing. We gotta wait for
That's
Brad
right,
to
we
get
have
us
to
some
find
numbers.
out.
Yeah.
That's what I
Could
said
you
to
find
find
out
out
what
what
it
it
would
costs to
cost
get
to
these things
salvage? Okay,
stored
well,
Dan?
thi-
or broken down.
this bid is for complete demolition and removal, hauling the stone, the brick, everything off-site.
Dan, how long do we let a building sit that's been on fire if it's a residential house or something like that?
Well, they're not doing anything, and as far as I know, I mean, we try to get it within a year, try to do something with it.
So we're not that far yet, but with a building outside, you've got a safety issue where I would not want kids to be climbing on that. So I think
Maybe it's a quote to just have them go up there and saw that end off of it and dispose of the burn.
Which we do actually within this, we asked each of these companies to give us 2 quotes. And obviously we contacted most of them right after the fire happened for insurance purposes, what could be saved, we still didn't know. So, I mean, we could go the route of the $10,500 in Mr. Daniels' quote for just tearing down the wood structure. That way there's less liability on the city there, but you would still have the remainder.
when did he think he would be able to start work?
He didn't know. He didn't give us a timeline, at least. Now, the other side of that is coming back to take everything else out, that's probably not gonna be $2,500 to make up that 2,000.
Fine.
Well, my point too is also we're putting logs into a log cabin down at the park right now, so we're saving that. So I don't know. I just looked at the structure. I've been up there. I've seen inside when I get the ADA compliant thing, but it still looks like a nice building. I mean, honestly, for the age and whatever. I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. You guys can figure it out.
I mean, how much money?
In that building to look at it? Is that like,
Good. Yeah, just call me.
okay.
Chad, is there a way we can get an estimate on what it's gonna take to make those bathrooms ADA compliant?
Could look at that too.
I mean, cause we're paying for that out of our pocket then.
Correct.
I mean, as soon as we hit 100,000, then you got engineering
I don't
fees and
foresee
everything
the
else.
ADA portion of it being the problem. It's the flooring. The flooring is completely settled. You can see it inside in the interior, the perimeter of the interior, that it is sunk 5 or 6 inches.
Was
It's
that
going to
because
keep
of the fire that?
It was not because of the fire.
Oh, okay.
So that would not have anything to do with any insurance.
Well, the engineer that was on Zoom with us suggested to tear it down.
Right, right.
He's never heard of self-leveling concrete. Saying. Just my thoughts.
So what can you get for us in by our next meeting? What do you think?
Try and get as much of this as we can. Definitely get the salvage number, make some contacts here in town, see who knows who.
Carolyn, I assume you were talking to a local brick person or mason.
I talked to a couple people that are familiar, and
Okay.
they said they could pop them off. They're only like 1.5 inches
Right.
thick.
Okay.
So it would not be that difficult to clean them up, refurbish, and use a high-quality limestone. Yeah, Logan limestone from
It
Iowa.
would be less expensive if we could leave it intact as it is,
I
obviously.
don't know.
So they told you, did they give you an idea what it
Oh,
would
no,
cost?
I
Not at
just,
all. Okay.
I was
Yep.
asking regarding salvaging and to use it for whatever project we landed on. That was it. And it would not be that hard to use it.
I mean, all the doorways have to be widened.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think you're spending money on something that easier to knock over and start over.
All right, so we wanna find out what it costs to save the siding, the stone.
Yeah.
We wanna find out what it would cost to do ADA compliant on the spot. Keeping there, and you said the floor would be an issue, so if we can find out what that is, and then let's see how you can do by our next meeting.
Okay.
Is that all right with everybody?
Might have some, hopefully all.
I would,
Be who you go.
Yeah.
demolition wise, we're just talking about saving the limestone and the brick. We're not necessarily saving the building, are we?
No, not on the, no.
Right.
Just saving
So
this
if
for
we
future
get,
use.
right, if we get the plans back for demolition, along with a quote for saving the limestone, we could move forward with the demolition.
And I think it would be more important to save the limestone versus the brick. If it, just because it'd be used for decorative purposes.
Sure.
If we demolish.
Okay.
But,
And we already have, I don't know, 7 pallets of that brick laying around right now, so.
yeah, you don't want more, do you?
Okay.
So we'll take no action on this at this time.
So does this tear down the band shell then too? Why? Go to a demolition.
Good discussion.
Committee reports.
All right, committee reports, you can all take care of those on your own and read those. I have no specific comments other than, I'm gonna reiterate to, anybody that's interested, especially the drivers of these trucks, I'm gonna say this publicly, please let us know what the advantage is of using that road as opposed to other roads, because it would really be helpful for us to know what it is, and, the people that are there, I heard safety as being a problem, if that's an issue for people, whatever it is that people pose, I'd like to know both sides. before we make a decision on that, and that's the only comments I have. And how about from the city council today? And the city manager?
Nope.
Motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Second. I'm gonna let him win if it's a tie. He gets a-
Jason got it. Oh, okay.
Tom, motion, second, Jason.
Atherton,
Yes.
Shrek,
Yes.
Cornell,
Yes.
Yes.
Bauer.
Yes.
Seymour.
Yes.